Hey everyone, it's been a while since I last posted a YouTube video, but I've been working on my business on the side and mainly been building products that I can sell at the market. So I'm going to be showing you how I built my first products, which are some exotic wood chessboards. And all the chessboards are going to be a combination of zebrawood, wenge, and bloodwood, but I mixed up the orientation to give it its own unique trait for each build. It's always a fulfilling process to see what the raw lumber looks like at the beginning and how it transitions into a finished product at the end. So the first step is I'm going to take it over to the jointer, I'm going to clean up an edge, and I'm going to get the rough dimension cut on my table saw. Now this rough dimension cut isn't anywhere close to the final dimension. I usually leave it around a ½ inch bigger than what I need for the final product. The problem is that it releases tension as you cut those boards across, so you're going to know some warping occurs. So I'm going to redo the same process on the jointer, and I'm going to clean up the bottom face and then the perpendicular 90 face, so that now I have a flat surface on the bottom and a perfect 90 degree that can run along the guard of the table saw. So once again, this is going to be the final cut, and you can see I'm just taking off a sliver off the end, and that's going to remove any further movement from tension releasing inside of the wood, and the wood will be stabilized in this final orientation that I have right now, so that the glue up will adhere to each other perfectly. So a couple of boring planer back and forth just to make sure that the top is smooth as well before I do the glue up together. And I'm going to be doing a clamping system where I actually clamp the steel bars along the top and bottom face to ensure that I don't have to remove or sand away more material, and I can keep as much as that 1 inch thickness as possible before I put on the clamps that squeeze in the glue joints together. Okay, so the first glue up is complete, and now we're going to start the prep work to get the second glue up underway. Once the glue dries up, I'm going to be taking a rough 40 grit sandpaper. I'm just going to remove any high spots from the glue drippage across all the boards, and that's going to allow me to begin the perpendicular cuts on the table saw. So the first cut I'm going to do is just taking a bit off the end so I have the exterior perfectly 90 degrees with the face that I'm running the guard along. Then I'm going to be cutting all the pieces in half, and I'm going to now set the table saw to its final width, and I'm going to complete the same cut multiple times for every piece until I have enough to fill up the entire chessboard. Taking the extra couple steps early on to redo the jointer process more than once really benefits you at this stage. Now I have every single square lining up perfectly with one another because there was no release in tension from the individual boards at that early stage. So now you see what the final pattern looks like. I'm going to repeat the exact same process with one caveat to what I completed earlier. I need to ensure that there's no movement towards and away from the camera for those individual pieces. So before I put those steel bars on top to ensure that there's no up or down movements, I'm actually going to add 2 steel braces on both sides, and that's going to resist any sliding motion when I do the final clamping process. Now with the chessboard complete, I still need to install a skirt around the entire board, and that's going to give it more contrast for the final product. So I actually have to do this in 2 steps rather than installing all 4 sides around simultaneously. So I'm going to start running along with the grain, ensuring that the pieces of wood also have the grain running in the same direction. And I'm going to remove the excess first with a Japanese handsaw to remove the bulk of material. Then I'm going to take it over to the sander, and that's going to make sure that it's perfectly flat across, and we'll accept the next glue joint which comes on either end. The next glue joint is an important step. You need to ensure that you also have a piece of wood that is lengthwise running in the same direction as the grains of the chessboard. So I actually have an end grain piece over 2 feet wide that I completed with the previous glue up, and this will ensure that the movement of the wood from the chessboard inside the core will mimic the movement that you have on that skirt. If you don't do this exact process and you just lazily install some lengthwise pieces of timber, you will have cracks occurring over this chessboard in the next either weeks, months, or even years. So I would have loved to have been able to put this through the planer, but it is too wide. So this drum sand has really been saving me on the last couple of projects, but it is a very coarse sandpaper. So once I get it to the final thickness and I get it consistent across all the chessboards, I'm going to start the sanding process using the palm sander. So similar to my other projects, I'm going to scratch the entire surface with a pencil, and I'm going to sand every single grit all the way up to 220 grit until that pencil line disappears. Now, something I've recently installed on my other projects and now on these projects, I've got a branding iron where I can actually install my Kirby Woodworking logo. So once that's all set up, I'm going to be using an Osmo oil wax for a finish. This is a high gloss finish, and you're going to be placing 2 coats. If you really want it to shine, I would recommend using a buffer. And after you do the initial placement and spread it across the surface, I would let it set for 5 to 10 minutes to allow the wax to both penetrate into the wood and slightly harden so that the buffing really digs into the wood and brings out that shine. Thank you for watching this video. Now, as for favorites, I can't decide personally, but if you do have a favorite, please be sure to put that in the comment below. If you did enjoy this video, please be sure to like it, hit that alert button for future notifications, and if you can, subscribe to my channel.